And it is 7:01. I'd like to call the March meeting of the New Canaan Parking Commission to order. And I guess we're going to start first with the approval of the minutes, and then we'll move on in the agenda. And I know we've got a new member to welcome, so we'll move on with that as well. At any rate, do I have a motion to approve the minutes from our February meeting? Marley?
Second.
Anybody? Katie? Wonderful. All approve?
Yeah.
Great.
I'm abstaining from this one.
Yeah.
Doesn't hear.
Yeah.
That is fine, not a problem. So, I'm next, I want to introduce our new parking commission member, John Clark, to our commission. I am going to let him, if he doesn't mind, just, I guess if you have any questions for him, let him introduce himself and, you know, tell him why he's interested in being a parking commission member and, just go from there. Before that, let me just introduce Nancy Bemis as our chairman. We have Kevin Carl as our secretary, Katie O'Neill and Marley Thackeray as our other commission members.
Well, it's a great pleasure to be able to join all of you on the commission. This is my my first position serving the town. My family and I have lived here since 2012. We moved here from New York City. I have two kids in New Canaan schools. One's a 9th grader and one's an 8th grader. And we live over on Pontus Ridge Road. And I really love the town. And one of the things I love about it is how committed my neighbors are to service. And I've admired the spirit of service and volunteerism that I've observed since I moved here. And I have a little more time to give time. And so I raised my hand and I'm happy to serve with you on the parking commission. In my regular life, I practice law in New York City.
Wonderful. Well, hopefully that won't come in too handy for what we do here in the parking commission, but we're happy to have you, John. And thanks for stepping up. It's great to have a full seated commission here. So we look forward to that. And anybody else have anything you want to add? Or?
Just thank you for stepping up for serving and recognizing that you wanted to give back, and the parking commission is a great place.
I look forward to it.
So I have Jane Shapiro. She's waiting in our waiting room, so I'm gonna let her in. She's our appealee, and we will move on from there. So let me just get her started. And hopefully she will pop in a minute. Jane. Where did you, there you go. Jane, I believe you're on mute and you're also not on video. So your video is turned off and you're on mute, so we cannot hear you if you can hear us. Well, I'm gonna try. There you go. Okay, perfect. Jane, you're on mute. You need to turn on your audio, please. Can I turn it on for you? Jane, you need to turn on your audio.
Okay, now I'm on.
There you are.
Okay.
All right, so you have the parking commission here. If you'd like to share your story on your appeal, please feel free to start.
Okay. I would never normally appeal something like this because obviously I was parked improperly, but I did have my, I think I had my blinkers on and I have a disabled sticker On that particular day, I've had about 25 orthopedic surgeries. One of my knees was terribly painful and I had something to pick up. So I couldn't walk very much. My leg was collapsing. And I tried to explain that to the officer, but he said, it's too late. You have to go fight this if you want. So I figured I might as well. I was really in pain that day.
So just to give you a little background on why you got two officers' reports, and I think maybe it might have been a little hard to understand. The first report that I sent you was from the actual officer, badge 304. She was the one that issued the original ticket.
Mhm.
Okay, issued the ticket, she did not see anyone in the vehicle, as you can see by.
No, I was in a store picking something up. I had walked across. I was gone for about 6 minutes, maybe.
Okay,
I was improperly parked, there's no question, but I couldn't, if I parked further away, I couldn't have walked over to where I needed to get something. So there were mitigating circumstances, that's all.
and the officer that you saw when you came back to the car was not the issuing officer, so.
Okay, I didn't know that, okay.
That's what I was just trying to explain to the commission, because they've got two reports.
Okay,
So that's why he told you had to appeal it, because the ticket was
Okay.
already issued and on the car, and he was the
okay,
one that saw.
okay.
So. Just to
There's-
explain that.
There's not much more. I mean, I've had, I don't know how many knee surgeries, but I had my knee replaced, for a second time after 25 years, a couple of years ago, and I had fallen and I was really in trouble. I really was, and my knee was giving out.
Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, one question just to clarify. So Lisa gave the ticket,
Correct.
and then Michael.
Mike was coming by
Was
when
coming
she was returning to the car, and she had spoke to him. And that's why he explained why she couldn't park there even with a handicap permit, because it was a no parking zone.
I know.
So,
Got it.
yeah, I have a question, which is simply that you indicate that there were two other handicap spots there that were filled with cars that didn't have handicap stickers. So I'm just wondering, Stacy, I mean, were those cars issued tickets?
Well, if they didn't, she might have just not saw them. A lot of people leave them on the dashboard, not hanging up. So if the officers saw two people in a handicap space and there were no tickets on the car, then that means that the permit was either on the dash or on the visor, where unfortunately people leave it. So we walk up to the car. If it's not hanging, they will look all over the dashboard. They'll look on the visor. I mean, they have been known to look even inside the car, just in case it's sitting in the console. So if there were no tickets on the car, now I don't know if there were or not, because I was not there, and I don't know if Jane saw tickets on the car or did not see.
No, I did not look at other cars. I mean, there were no, there are normal disabled spots there. I know that, but they were cars in them. I didn't look in those cars.
Right.
I just parked quickly, went out, and, walked slowly across the street to get what I had ordered. And then as I was walking back, I saw, I guess, Mike.
So she might have not even seen them hanging either.
Oh, mine was hanging for sure. It's been hanging since I got the car. I haven't taken it off.
No, I mean the two other ones, you might
I
have
didn't
not.
look. I didn't look.
Right. How frequent is it that the handicap spots are actually, filled at that time of day? I guess it really all depends, but
Yeah, but
it's strikes me as
handicap
odd.
spots are taken often. That they are utilized. That's why we're very careful.
Right.
Oh,
And up by Dunkin' Donuts, exactly how many where are like the closest handicap spots? Because I know the ones that are two across from like the movie theater.
Yeah, but they
So-
were filled. They were
Right,
filled.
and there's one like near Rosie's, I think.
Yeah.
Alright, so if
They
she
were all
was,
filled.
yeah, one on the corner by Elm and Main in the angled spot, and then right across the street in the parallel parking spot right by the shade store,
Mhm,
by 1 Elm Street.
mhm.
Right,
And then there's ones in Morse Court too, obviously.
There's 4 in Morse Court, and there's some further down the street on Elm Street.
right.
One
But-
on Street as well.
That would have required her to,
Yeah, that would be a little further for her, so the Morse
Yeah.
Court ones, are the closer ones. Well, actually, not really, in Main Street, there's one in front of Kiklo.
The point was that I couldn't, I was in a lot of pain, so I got what I, had ordered. Or else I had paid for it and it was gonna go bad, and I, I went back to my car and went home and did not do anything I worked, but I worked I do sedentary work.
Could the store have like brought it out to you? If you were.
I don't think so. Rose, the store could have, but nobody was picking up the phone at that point. I called them.
okay.
Okay.
Well, what we typically do is, hear what you've had to say, and then, we will, discuss this, at the end of the meeting. So you're
You'll
welcome.
let me know?
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay, you'll let me know. And
Tell you. I'll let you know.
I couldn't hear that?
I will email you with the decision of the parking commission.
Okay, and if you decide that I need to pay it, I will pay it. No, not a problem.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much for listening to me.
thanks for taking the time.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. So there's not much, we have your report, Stacy, and then I guess we can circle back to Ms. Shapiro's, claim.
We have a light meeting today, so basically, nothing has changed from the last time I saw you guys. The only one update is, and I keep bringing this up because to me it's still surprising. It's never been like this, but I am literally down to 25 people left on the lumberyard wait list. And over the last 2 days, because Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays are our busiest day, I've had Mike go out and take a look at the spots. Today there were about 60 spaces, now not all in one area, but throughout the lot. Yesterday, there are about 40, scattered throughout the lot, and I have 25 on the wait list. So there is a very good chance. I'm gonna give it another week. I'd like to, because I just finished with the last group of people. They had to the end of February to make the decision. So I give it about 2 or 3 weeks to monitor the lot to see the usage and everything. We've been pretty consistent. So there's a good chance at the end of this month, I will let all those 25 people know and see how many people take it. And then after that, I don't know, because for 20 years, we have always had a wait list. So I don't know, not quite sure where we go from there, but it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. But yeah, it'd be very interesting. I'm just not sure who's parking, when they're parking. I hear people are going back 5 days a week, but we're really not seeing that, so.
I do have to say that it's been busy Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays.
Yeah, those are.
Since the beginning of the year, basically.
But where it's not, it used to be like our busy days, we would even have people adding on spaces. We
Mhm.
still have availability. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like it's not busy and it's not like it's not being utilized. But because there was always a waiting list, because we couldn't fill it. I mean, we still have spaces to fill it, so I'm finding it very interesting, and I don't know, it's a really good thing that we can get people in there. And we'll just see, we'll just keep.
I mean, I definitely remember going and parking at the lumberyard lot and making my own space a couple times.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. There's a number of days in the week that people would.
Yeah.
They would add on a space, and it was not unusual. So that's really the only update I have. We'll see next month. It's getting a little busier as it's getting warmer outside. But you know, that it's pretty much status quo right now. That's the time of the
You
year.
normally see change from February to March to April?
Yes, we'll see it pick up a little bit. We'll see people now getting outside, more people coming into town, to enjoy the weather. So yes, we will see it pick up a little bit.
In the lumberyard lot.
Oh, we're talking about the lumber, no, this is the time of the year where people should be using it because vacations are over. Nothing is scheduled. People who are working really would be going into work, so this would be a normal.
March is the private school.
I was just about to say, there's 2
Okay.
weeks of pretty heavy vacation coming up.
Okay, so maybe we'll see a little lighter at that point,
Yeah,
but,
I think in early April, I would imagine is a good time to just sort of double check what we're seeing now.
Barometer, yeah, or even right after the public school vacation, because I think perhaps even if people were going back to the office, it's been so bitterly cold that maybe there was, a sort of moratorium on that, or, people were just saying, forget it, I'm not gonna.
Yeah, you're right, Nancy. It has been cold where people may have not commuted.
yeah, I know we just finished with the winter recess with a lot of the towns, so that's why it was light, a few weeks back, but.
I mean, I'd also, ask other towns and see if they're seeing the same phenomenon, if you will, or.
I will, usually, like I said, the person I talk to the most would be in Darien, and she's also seeing a little bit lighter of a commute. They have availability in their lots to move down a little bit more on the wait list as well. We were just talking about that a couple of days ago. So, but yeah, it's good for the people that are moving.
Right.
in.
Exactly.
Yes.
Be able to find a space.
Yeah,
Great.
so that's all I have.
All right. Well, then getting back to the matter at hand of Ms. Shapiro in the no parking zone. Have we got any,
I do have to say on the agenda, is her name spelled wrong in the appeals? I think there's an extra R after. It's like SHARPIRO. I think it's just SH.
Oh, did I spell that wrong? Okay, thank you, I can make it.
yes, it's SHAP, no R.
Yeah.
Zero, yes. Thanks for that, Kevin.
So in her written appeal, she had said, am I on mute? No.
No.
She had said that both handicap spots were filled by cars without stickers, but that conflicts with what she was saying tonight, which was that she didn't look at the cars to see if they had stickers. That, changes it somewhat. I don't know if it would have changed how I feel about it. However, I think that, sadly, having a handicap sticker doesn't preclude you from the same situation as the rest of us, which is you have to circle, drive around, and wait for a spot to open. And I don't know, I don't think we know what errand she was doing, what store she was trying to reach.
Right, actually, that crossed my mind. I thought, no, I think she said she was gonna
She said
go,
Rosie, I think,
Oh, okay.
which
Well,
I
I
know does bring things out. I've had that done, but maybe they were busy.
well, it was exactly quarter to, 12:50, 12:49, so it was lunchtime.
Lunchtime, yeah.
What else
I
do
think
people
it's
think?
that there were not handicap spots available. And whether or not, I mean, if the officer had given her a ticket for a no parking zone, it would be likely that the officer would also have ticketed those other cars that were, if there were no tickets, no permits visible. We don't necessarily know that, but it's likely, yes, Stacy.
If those cars did not have handicap permits, they would have been ticketed.
They would have been ticketed, and you would have known, I guess, is the question I have. You would know that there were concurrent tickets in that same window of time on that same day.
Yes, I did not at this point go and look that up, but if we needed to, I could look and see if there were tickets given for those handicap spaces. But if an officer came down the street, they would have hit those handicap spaces first before they got to her vehicle, and those would have been looked at.
Right.
We look at handicap spaces
Right.
very well because, again, they're far and few in the town.
Although it also seems to me as though, Lisa gave the ticket not knowing that it was a person, or maybe she didn't see that the handicap sticker was hanging from the rearview mirror, but that it was a handicapped person, let's say.
Well, I'll have to share with you if she did, and if she didn't put that in her statement, I will make sure next time that she will. But even if she saw a handicap permits are not made to park illegally.
Right.
A handicap permit does not supersede illegal parking, okay? I understand situations, we all understand situations when it comes to people who have disabilities and if they can't find a handicap permit, but just because someone has a handicap permit doesn't mean that they should be allowed to park illegally, because like Katie mentioned, how does that differ from anybody else parking illegally?
And
Right.
I think at the crux of this, we're deciding whether or not someone with a handicap sticker can park in a no parking zone, and I don't think we want to say
I think
that.
that sets a precedent we don't want to deal with in the future. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know how much more we have to turn this over.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I definitely feel for her, but I feel like there's usually plenty of handicap parking in Moore's Court because there's like a lot of spaces there, and I mean, the circling method too. I mean, eventually people have to give up their spots.
Right.
There's just so many different things that could have happened.
Yeah, we can't answer all situations,
Yeah.
life is imperfect, and, like Kevin said, I certainly feel for her. I mean, it's frustrating. But we can't say that a handicap sticker is a free parking pass for anywhere.
All right, then I suppose we are voting to uphold.
Or yeah,
I do.
and she wouldn't have to pay
A late fee.
the late fee, correct?
Oh, absolutely not, no, it's.
Yeah. Okay.
So we have 5 to uphold?
Yep.
Wow. I'm not used to saying 5. All right.
I want to add on this, we've talked in the past, and Stacy, I've asked you about the short-term parking and the turnover that would create. This is another situation where handicap spot or no, if there was some additional short-term spots there would be some nice turnover.
Yep,
Yeah.
I agree.
Especially with Dunkin' Donuts there, and because wasn't across the street from Dunkin' Donuts, there's a loading zone there, but wasn't it 15-minute parking for a little bit?
I don't think so.
Where- I'm sorry?
From across the street from Dunkin' Donuts on, what is it, South Ave?
Like in front of Dooney and Burke on South.
Yeah.
That was the loading zone, but literally around Dunkin' Donuts is a whole strip of 15-minute parking.
That's true.
So in Morse Court,
Right,
that's
but
all.
that's still a pretty far ways away for somebody
Right.
who's
Yeah.
a handicap sticker. So I think that's the issue.
I guess here's another question. We've talked a lot about, delivery people, it's, double parking, putting your hazards on. So, I mean, is this count as an unloading or unloading? Like, should she have just double parked and walked in if she was handicapped? Like, how would we have treated it in that situation? I guess I'm wondering.
Well, she did have her flashers on. She said she had her blinkers on, and the picture shows that there were lights on.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, for sure. But we've been, we've talked about this a lot on the commission over the years about the problems on
Right.
Elm with, getting in and out and deliveries. Does that only apply to commercial and, business people? Does that what would we have done?
It varies, and each situation is different, and again, it would be up to the officer going down street to judge to see if this person is double parking, running in, out. Sometimes they see them and it's like, okay, just go and get what you need to do and get right back out there. Again, delivery vehicles, unfortunately, I know, you know, maybe it might not be correct, but deliveries have to be made. And we don't have the infrastructure in town to put trucks right now in different places where they cannot double park and get their goods to the stores and the restaurants and the businesses. So there are a little bit of exceptions, but we can't just have the exceptions all over the place. And we do absolutely try to get somebody who's double parked, if we see them, say, listen, you cannot be here, and move them along before we issue a ticket. Believe it or not, and I know I tried to say this, issuing the ticket is really our last resort. You know, sometimes we just have no choice because nobody's around, they're there and they're clogging traffic, they're in a no parking zone. But if we can move somebody along before we issue a ticket, we always try to do that. It's not like we'll just, you know, just go up, we don't care if somebody's sitting in a car, we'll just issue.
Right.
Right, yeah.
That's where I was going earlier when I started to ask about Lisa, whether she saw the ticket or not, because if based on Mr. Piro's comments, the second officer, you know, at that point, it was already too late. The ticket had been
Right.
issued, but the way she described the story, it was, to my mind, almost as if he would have said, you know,
Well, if she was getting into the car, he more than likely,
Right.
he would have said if the ticket wasn't already issued and she was getting into the car, please don't do this again, this is a no parking zone. A
Right.
handicap permit doesn't allow you to park illegally.
Right.
Giving her the benefit of the doubt, giving her the option to just move the car. Again, you know, we know the town where we live in, we know, you know, the town we patrol in, and it's not like we're just gonna give it, not speak to somebody, but that was not the case here.
But it is an interesting thought experiment where if she were double parked versus in a no parking zone, how, if it would have been handled differently.
I do have to say, I drove down Elm Street like, what was it? I don't know, a couple days ago, and I saw a lady parked with her lights on, texting on the right hand side, and it was just like, I don't know, just was like, and there's the 15-minute parking spot was open at the end of Elm Street, so she could have parked there and stopped to text there instead of double parking, texting, waiting, and it was just like,
Maybe she was
I
picking
don't know.
somebody up or.
maybe.
The rotations of the patrol, you know, by the time we get to where we're going, the person has left. So
Yeah.
some people might see someone double park, by the time we get there, they're not any longer, so, you know. Again, it's just the timing of the patrol as well.
Mhm.
All right. So with that, we have voted. So we know how that's been resolved, and that's it then, right? It is now, what time is it? 7:29 PM, and can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Katie and Karen, thank you. Thank you all. Welcome again, John. You can see this is
Thank you.
lots of spirited debate here. So we look forward to your
Good.
contributions. Yeah.
Encourage all your friends to appeal. Just kidding.
No special treatment.
Hopefully, oh, that's off the minutes, right?
Thank you all so much. I will see you guys next month. You have a
Next
wonderful
month,
evening.
but it will still be light out.
I know.
It's nice.
I won't be driving out of home in the dark, so.
All right.
Thank you
Well,
all
thanks again,
again.
everyone.
Thank you.
Night, everyone.
Night.
Bye-bye.